on SoTL. This podcast aims to build a culture of scholarship of teaching and learning in higher education with a specific focus on transitional pedagogy, innovation and block mode. Scholarship of teaching and learning is more colloquially known as SoTL. In contemporary university environments, good teaching alone is not enough. More and more often, academics are being asked to provide evidence of teaching and learning outcomes. But what does this look like in reality? Sure, it can involve formalised original research, but on the ground level, it involves making transparent how we make learning possible. This involves reflection, inquiry, evaluation, and communication. And that is what we are here to achieve today. My guest today is Nick Tripodi from the First Year College. Nick has quite a name for himself as a publishing machine, and he is here today to talk to us about how it is all possible. Welcome, Nick.
Hello, Kate.
So, Nick, this is always a challenge for academics, but can you start off by briefly introducing yourself and what your role at VU is?
Yes, it always is a bit of a challenge, talking about ourselves, but you got to get used to it after a while, I think. Yes, so me, Nicholas Tripodi, I am TFAs, yes, teaching focused academic
yes.
within the First Year College. So I teach into the osteo program. I also have a clinical role in private practice as an osteopath, and I'm also enrolled in my PhD as well, about halfway through.
Yes, so as you can see, Nick has a lot of free time on his hands.
Heaps.
So Nick, can you tell me a little bit about your research?
Sure. So I guess I have three main areas of interest. So the SoTL area, higher education research type area, that sort of mainly started since we started the First Year College. Previously, I've done some stuff around, and with you as well, Kate, student engagement, student learning styles and that kind of stuff. More recently, I've sort of moved into the feedback literacy area, so have published a couple of papers in that area, and we're sort of working on putting together a feedback literacy survey at the moment. So we'll try and get that project up and running by 2022, or at least sort of collect all the data in 2022, and that's through the CIRC First Year College Committee as well. So that's been really nice. Secondly, I guess, is some discipline-based research involved in a sort of few projects there. So I look after some of the 4th and 5th year osteo masters projects. So that's sort of largely looking at things like patient perceptions and those kind of stuff. It's sort of been pretty difficult, as you can imagine, to do any clinical type research over the last couple of years with COVID.
Yeah.
So that's been a challenge, but we sort of got around it as best we can. Also involved in osteo research fellowship through UTS up in Sydney. So we're working on a few projects there, but again, that's been pretty challenging with COVID as well, not being able to meet up face-to-face and those type of things. And then thirdly is my PhD research. So that's within IHES, and I'm basically looking at molecular markers of wound healing in response to laser light.
Wow, that's quite a lot of breadth, and it must keep you interested, jumping from topic to topic all the time.
Yeah, it has its moments.
So, Nick, you've outlined that you are a PhD student and a teaching-focused academic, and it is no secret that many academics feel the pressures of time. The question on everyone's mind is, how do you possibly manage the amount of research you complete while balancing these other roles?
Yeah, I mean, it's challenging, and I guess, it's my choice to go outside my workload at times, but not always. I certainly fit in that sometimes. Obviously, I'm not full-time teaching, but as I said, I supplement that with my clinical role and I guess PhD as well. I think the main one on a few points with that, firstly, I think it's important to do a little bit often. So just really trying to keep ticking away at stuff regularly, even if you're only spending 30, 45 minutes at a time, whether that's getting an ethics proposal together, whether that's trying to network, trying into some other research groups, or working on your own project, or writing. I think if you leave it too long, it just becomes so much harder to come back to it. You got to reread into everything, particularly when you're time limited anyway. So just really trying to make use of those small gaps, and even if you're doing even just little as 30 to 40 minutes a day or every other day, I think that body of work really adds up, block to block, month
Absolutely.
to month, year to year as well.
I think that's a brilliant piece of advice, because most of us probably do find those little windows, and I know I'm definitely guilty of wasting them. Like, oh well, it's 3 minutes past 9. Guess I can't start doing something until 9:30. but I think you're exactly right. And the thing is, if you do just keep chipping away at it, it is going to get done eventually. And we're running marathons here, not sprints.
That's right. Yeah. So social media is good for the old procrastination.
Yeah.
Yeah, damn that marketplace.
Especially when you can justify it as work, like if you're on LinkedIn or your emails or something like that. You're like, well, at the end of the day, I'm still working. I'm just not being as productive with my time.
That's right.
So I'm interested, are there any barriers you feel that you face in terms of balancing research and teaching?
Yeah, I think, as we said before, time's the big one. Hey, we only have a really sort of finite amount of time to look at research, particularly, when you're a teaching focused role. And it kind of links into sort of doing a little bit often, but I think, that's the biggest one. And then, those uncontrolled variables which come up time to time, which you can't really help, whether that's work related or life related. Yeah, sometimes they get in the way, and you sort of have to extinguish those fires, so to speak, before you can sort of go back to your research. But I think, again, if you're finding those little time periods to help out with that, I think if you've got a clear plan and clear goals and maybe some sort of timeline to stick to, sort of keep sort of the carrot on the stick, so to speak. And I guess, with sort of those uncontrollables, try not to get bogged down in those little semantics if you can, and just sort of try and focus. And it's easier said than done, but just try and stick to those clear goals and clear plans where you can.
I think that's brilliant. I guess my question is to you, what advice do you have for staff who may feel like they want to be active in research but don't know where to begin? Because it's hard to develop those goals and timelines when you don't know how to start. So is there any advice you can give on starting that process?
Yeah, very true. I think the biggest thing for me is just networking and collaborating. I think, I think I've only ever published one solo article. I think, research is so much easier to do in a team, whether you're really experienced or whether you're just sort of starting out in the caper. Having different people from different levels of experience, from different walks of life, different professions, to all provide really good input, whether you're leading, whether they're leading. If you can form some really nice networks, get in a little research team, I think you can just go from there. That's a really good place to get started from. So just have conversations with people, Don't be shy in asking people to look over things, to come on to projects. The worst that they can say is no.
And then you're in the exact same position as you would have been before.
That's right. So no bad can come off. Even DM people on social media, that kind of stuff. The worst that they won't get back to you or no, but occasionally they do, and you can forge really good relationships and really good networks from there. So do that, and then once you've sort of got an idea, you don't have to start off with a grand research idea that's going to shape the world. Start somewhat small, not too small. Like, you don't want to go too low hanging if you can help it, but something that's going to be feasible and also hopefully publishable. And then within that research network, or people from outside that, try and get as much feedback, as much critique as much as you can, because the reviewers certainly aren't going to sort of go soft on you. So if you can get a lot of that out of the way before you submit research, even before you plan research, submit ethics, you're saving yourself a lot of hassle. And that's where you learn. They're really valuable learning experiences. And each time you go through that process, you take those learnings and improve. And then it starts to become a bit more of a process. And all of a sudden you can sort of have multiple projects on the go because you're so aware of all the different processes that are a part of it, I guess.
I think that's brilliant advice. I mean, I remember the first paper you and I wrote, and we didn't get much feedback on it, and we got slaughtered by the reviewers.
Yeah, but we still got there in the end, right?
We still got there in the end, and I think that's a really important thing too, is don't take feedback too personally or too critically. If you keep pushing at it, you will get there in the end.
That's right. I'm disappointed when I don't get much feedback. Like I really want people to be as hard, not in the professional and constructive sense, but to try and be as sort of devil's advocate as possible, because that's really the only way it's going to improve, and it's really the only way it's going to hold up.
Absolutely, and I totally agree with you on that. I'm going to do a bit of shameless plug here that I just thought of. If you are interested in being involved in research and you don't know where to start, Nick mentioned this a little bit earlier, but within the first year college, we do have communities of practice of research, which are groups of people that are interested in specific topics within teaching and learning. And if you're interested in getting involved, even if you don't feel like your unit is relevant or you have much to offer, come and join in, have a chat with some people. People are more than happy to share the load with them, get you involved and start building that research potential. And I know both Nick and I are leading groups within that space, and I'm going to speak for Nick here and say we always welcome more people to reach out. So if you want to get involved, just send someone an email and we'll get you involved in it.
More the merrier.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think we've got in our feedback literacy one now, we've got maybe 5 or 6 of us.
Yep.
Which is nice. So yeah, I think it's going to work out really well.
Absolutely. And I know my multi-course one has about 7 or 8 people, and I've recently had 2 people join who are brand new to the first year college, who are joining just because they want to get to meet people. So It's also a way to build capacity there. You can be as involved or as not involved as you like. So this has turned into a little bit of an ad. I can assure you it's not sponsored, but if it was sponsored by the First Year College Communities of Practice. I feel like I should do one of the government slogans.
That's right. I'm all about the shameless self-plug.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Nick, for coming and having a brief chat with me. I really appreciate you taking the time.
Not a problem at all, Kate. Thanks so much for having me.
No worries. Until next time, guys, have a good one.